Hello there, and welcome back to Maximum Weight. It's been probably longer than it should have been, but we are finally back with some Ferrari shenanigans with Leclerc and Hamilton. And honestly, unfortunately, the 2025 season, I think we figured out last time around, is not going to go our way. Alonso's just been a little bit too much of a hard carry here. We're basically over halfway through the season, and we are still good 80 points behind him here in the drivers, and we're a good 100 behind in the Drivers' Championship. If we also take a quick look here at what the Red Bull has to offer compared to our car, they have a significant advantage in basically every area, which means that we are not going to be able to really give them much of a fight. We could, of course, gamble on the fact that we could see Alonso have some troubles later on in the season. But I think the bet that we're going to do here is that we are just going to focus on research for the last 10 races, 11 races, including Spa, this year. And then we're going to give it a go next year. I'm still going to try and get this done. We might actually have some surprising results. But I think the reality of the situation is that we are not going to get this done this season. And we need to look to next season. And that is kind of what we're going to do today. The goal is going to be to, if I believe that we aren't going to be able to finish, we will speed along, get the research done. This is the big regulation change season. And then we will start off next season and see just how the car looks. Another thing that is advantage us going into next year is the drivers, and in particular here, Alonso's contract with Red Bull runs out in 5 months, so he is not going to be part of the team next year. And if we look at the team, the drivers they could replace him with, Russell might actually take the seat here. There is also Perez, might find a return. But in general here, there shouldn't be any super drivers. Odds are, depending on where Russell goes, we might find some pain, but we might also be good. We'll have to see exactly what ends up happening here. But yeah, I think the focus is just going to be to research the last half of the season, get prepped for the next one. And as I said, I will try still for the next couple of races to see if we can get Leclerc in a position to nab this championship from Alonso. But so far, I think that is going to be a really, really hard ask. So the season has come to an end, and unfortunately, we weren't actually able to do anything, which is why I've skipped basically everything here. The races didn't really have anything going for them. Red Bull set off into sunset, and we just couldn't catch up. Now, in terms of the fastest pace pay, we did end up 4th, which is not terrible. Gives us a little bit extra money, and we are still doing a bit of research here. But as you can see, at the end of the year, we're almost 400 points behind the Bulls. To be fair, I did kind of sit out the last 4 races here because we've ran out of parts and I want to save money going into next year. So that, of course, was a factor. But don't be fooled here. The Red Bulls are incredibly strong. As you can see, what was a 100-point gap is now, more than doubled. And Alonso does take the championship title, which should be a good thing for him, honestly. We've also had both Leclerc and Hamilton. Hamilton's actually improved his stats somehow. I've never seen this with a 40-year-old driver who has a very low development rate, so I'll take that. I'm very happy with that, to be fair here. But we are going to have to try next year. And again, this is the big regulation change season, so next year is basically our best bet here. And I'm still going to keep on developing the car. We put in a lot of research here, I do believe. Probably, hopefully enough. But it's still going to be probably a little bit closer than we'd like going into the next season. And, the car performance right now is kind of lying to you because the other cars are kind of broken. But in terms of research projects here, we're probably going to get one more going. I've decided to go for 2 safety on the front wing, just to try and get some work in there. We do need a little bit more cornering. Probably should have gone full top speed. But I think the choice here will pan out. We'll take a look at exactly what the research has accomplished at the end of the month. But for now, I do need to get one other thing done, and that is just basically these last 22 days of this season. As I mentioned, there was nothing really of interest here for us. The bottom 4 teams haven't really, caused any sort of problems. McLaren wasn't a strong enough contender. RB was a strong enough contender to really snatch points off of Red Bull. And to be fair, they scored most of the points there when we were kind of sitting back because, the powertrain is kind of busted. We ran out of engines, and as I mentioned, didn't want to spend any extra on them. So what I'm going to do now is just get to the end of the year. We'll take a look at the car, and we'll see what we can well, expect in 2026, which is probably going to be our last chance at getting this challenge done. And if we fail, well, honestly, might just have to try again with a different team. I'm also very curious who Red Bull is going to be replacing Alonso with, because generally the AI doesn't re-sign drivers. So Alonso here, where is he going to go? Where is he going to go after his win? And who's going to be replacing him? We think again the most logical candidate would be Russell here. So we'll have to see how this goes. And here we are. Our final research has been completed, and with that, we should now have a bit of a look at what we can expect here. Sponsorships, we've done fairly well, I believe. We did lose a lot of sponsor money, honestly, from the last 4 races, just not reaching the goals. But to be fair, we weren't reaching the goals anyways because, well, our car just was a little bit too bad. 3rd and 7th, 2nd overall. We lose a little bit of team rating. You can see that tiny sliver there. And honestly, the board isn't very happy with me, but let's be honest, not much you can do about that. Drive development update. Our drives did actually develop a little bit, which is good. And in terms of the regulations here, we are getting extra gearbox, ERS, and engine next year, which means we can sacrifice a bit more when it comes to our cooling because we have extra components. The major technical layer is also going to play a huge part, and we're actually getting a little bit extra price money. We, well, get one of the biggest increases here. I voted against this. The AI voted for, which is usually how this game... usually how this game goes. Let's just put it like that. Now, new season targets is going to be 3rd and 2nd. No? 2nd, actually. So that was the 2025. We're going 2nd. Which it's not too bad. But I'm going to be very curious now to see how we stack up compared to the rest of the grid. You can kind of see here that we did kind of fall off the last 5 races last year. But yeah, financially, we're looking good. Technically here, we are losing a lot on the chassis. We'll have to try and regain it over this season. Front wing 2, we did put 2 CFD pairs into this, but even so, we're just barely getting half of the lost low speed. So as you can imagine, the AI is losing a lot more. Let's just start from the bottom. It's probably a little bit easier too. Suspension, we are getting some of that drag reduction, tire preservation back, but again, not even half of it. So yeah, the underfloor does need some work. Definitely see it being that first moment we get. Side pods definitely also need a lot more work, and the rear wing too. Everything we had needed more work, but you're very, very limited in the big regulation change season. And honestly, the best thing I could have done here was just, admit defeat earlier on last season and done a lot more research, but I didn't. That has now come back to bite us. But if we take a look at car analysis here, keep in mind that I believe the other cars are already 0 kilograms. And the fact that we are beating some cars and being very close to others, let's face it, we are very close to this Red Bull car when they've already been applied that 0 kilogram buff. Means that things are not as bad as they might seem. I'm going to have to be honest, things seem pretty bad. I'm going to, disapprove of that. But when they've already shed 20 kilograms and we are basically still equal with them, kind of gives me the hope here that we'll be able to do something. The question now is, do I want to do this and get a tiny bit of cornering? I think I do. We could, of course, also go, again, just full on in top speed. But I think I need to start by making some cornering parts there, and maybe we'll switch it up as we move our way through the season. We're going to rush it. We're going to put engineers on this. I need to get it done quick. 13 days is kind of a cheat, to be fair. But this first design of the underfloor needs to be quick. It has to happen quickly. And honestly, the same can be said for the chassis, the side posts, and everything. So the first iteration here, I think we're going to rush. We're going to use engineers on to get it done quick. But the second iteration onwards, we are actually going to be using Intense for probably one time on every part. Because our expertise is now so low that we would kind of benefit from it. I'm fine with rushing it this early, though. Just get things going, and I do need 2 more engineers because I need to make the other parts. But yeah, I think we will be fine. My main concern now is just designing wrongly and discarding weight instead of adding it, kind of like I almost did last time around. But you can already see here, we're getting up to 70% tire preservation. That's going to help us a ton. But the cornering that we're losing is also, honestly, a bit troublesome. We might need to, again, shed some top speed to get that back. But for now, I'm fine with doing it in this way. We're we're going to try and make this happen. We do have 50% engine cooling, which is not great, but also not terrible. And if we sacrifice it, we're going to lose 10 of it. So we might need to do that. I'm going to be honest here. We are still losing cornering, which is not too surprising. And again, the AI is just going to keep on catching up with us this year. They are going to most likely overtake us. And the reality situation here is that this might be the wake-up call we get. But we realize at the start of the second season, what we really need to do was just slow down and research. But for now, we're going to give this a go. We'll see what we can do. Should, of course, not do engine cooling here. Just keep it in the middle-ish. But I think we need to just do this for the first part. Just focus on staying alive more so than anything else. There we go. We are designing new parts here. We are going to be losing some of the cornering that we already have. But when we look at the Red Bull car, for instance, and see that we are just 10 behind here, we're 20 behind here, we are, well, 50 behind here, which is a lot. But we already have a top speed advantage. We already have the arrest advantage. We have a huge tire preservation advantage. I think we can turn this around. And that is going to be the whole idea here. So it sucks. That's just the name of the game. But we'll have to try and make it into a season where we can win. And that's going to be really difficult. But yeah, let's see what we can get in terms of sponsors. A tier 5 sponsor for all of the slots. We are going to have to just gamble on race day here, I feel. And we are going to be looking for more race day payouts because I want to see how high I can get this over the course of a full year here. So the upfront packages here are the other thing. We can get a boost a facility, which is good. Facility 50, we don't really care too much about that. So this is what we're going to go for. The 2 million upfront, just 13 in engagement and 76 on race day potentially, which, well, could be huge. So let's gamble. Let's go all in. And I'll get the pick for training here. We'll get the parts made. And then we'll see how we actually stack up versus the AI in Bahrain. The first underflow design has finished here. And we are, of course, going to make another one. The question is just, do I want to make one right now? Or do I want to try and get some of the cornering we've lost back by getting started on a front or a rear wing? And honestly, I think the answer is going to be that we want to try and get a front wing. And quite possibly a rear wing going too before we go into Bahrain here. Because even with maximum weight here on that front wing, we can see that we are getting a huge amount of low speed cornering. Enough to make up for the losses. We're going to lose some high speed. That's fine. We can regain that for sure. So I'm not too worried. We will also have some gains from that second underfloor, which I wouldn't be too worried about. But if we rush this one with 6 engineers, we're going to be able to get not only the front wing done, but also the rear wing. So I think this is going to be the best bet that we do. Let's go ahead, rush it. 17 days to design a front wing here is actually kind of insane, if you ask me. So let's get that one started, as we're going to get chassis, side pods, and everything else done in short succession too. As we lose 6 days of design work here, of course. Second, I start being a little bit happy. The game punishes me, as is tradition. But even with those 6 days lost, we should still be fine. It's just a little bit annoying is all. There we go. The chassis has been made, and we are going to immediately start manufacturing this. Again, it loses a little bit at low speed. But we should have plenty of time to get 2 chassis made before Sakir. And the question here is, do I now just start on the rear wing? Because if we do, what can we expect in terms of gains and losses here? We're losing a lot of top speed. We're losing a lot of low speed. We can get some of that. Get some of that medium speed back. Do I want to make a very silly rear wing here, where we actually do focus on 2 of the cornering aspects? Because losing 25 is actually a huge deal. This swings 35 the other direction. I think I might have to do this. Make a very weird. Yeah, this is no go. That just does not make sense. I think we make a rear wing like this, which is not optimal at all, but it's still a good choice if you do need to get some of that cornering back. We're still going to lose low speed. I'm sacrificing the arrest effectiveness here, which is going to impact us in quali. It's going to impact our overtaking a little bit. But basically, again, my philosophy is pretty simple when it comes to designing a car. There's no point designing a car that is very good with DRS, very good with top speed, if you never get to take advantage of those capabilities. Basically, I'm building a car that is supposed to win races. That's going to be the goal here. What is going to help me more winning races? Is it going to be to get a little bit extra corner and give me that little bit extra lap pace to keep up with the cars ahead? Or is it going to make me... It's going to be a little bit easier overtaking. Of course, there's going to be times when I would need this DRS effectiveness to overtake cars further down the grid. But I think in this case, we are sacrificing the DRS, which, again, sounds like heresy. But we are going to do that for the cornering aspect. It just is, in my eyes, the best way that we can gamble and get this done. So there we go. We now have the rear wing coming. Once the front wing is done here, I think we are going to rush another, well, probably once the side pod is done, more like it. We are going to be making that second underfloor. And hopefully we can actually get it done in time. That's going to be the big one. But yeah, suspension is finished. We're going to manufacture 2 of these. Pretty straightforward and simple. The side pods are done. We're going to manufacture a couple of these. Pretty straightforward and simple. And once again, we are losing a lot of stats here. But as we make more and more designs through the course of the season, we're going to get some of those stats back. This new underfloor, for instance, now that we have used safety time on it, it's going to give us a pretty good gains on all the cornering aspects. So it's going to make up for some of the losses. The question is just, can we get it made in time? And the answer to that is just yes, straight up. Provided we have no issues with the factory, we have no issues with the design center, we are getting this second underfloor ready for Bahrain, including the manufacturing time. Now, what I'm going to start doing now is just make a ton of, well, other pieces here. In this case, we are making a suspension where we want to increase tire preservation. We want to lower the loss of, cornering ability, and also get a little bit more top speed. I do think I should do like 1 in 10s design here for everything. And basically that's what I'm going to do. Once we have every base part, we're doing 1 in 10s chassis, we're doing 1 in 10 side pod, not an underfloor, but also suspension. The 3 pieces are going to be given the intense treatment, and maybe going through it twice in order to just try and boost us this early in the season. It's going to be very costly, don't get me wrong. I hate using intense in this game. I feel like it's generally not worth it. But in this particular scenario where we need to score as many points as we can early on this season, because the AI is just going to get stronger and stronger compared to us, using intense is definitely going to be worth it. Also, with Sakir now just being a month away, we are going to go through our facilities, and in particular, we are going to start refurbishing and upgrading a little bit. So basically here, we are going to start refurbishing these buildings because they are the cheapest one to refurbish, and doing this should help with getting the morale back up. It should help with, keeping the buildings in kind of a good shape. But now this one we'll just leave. The staff building, the team hub here, I do need to refurbish it. It's just very expensive. And in terms of rest here, I think the best bet that I can do is, again, just go for upgrading rather than refurbishing, because it's still 2.4 million to do this. I probably should do a little bit of refurbishing too. But I'll allow myself to give me a little bit of a think here, because basically I can refurbish 3 buildings, so upgrade 1 is kind of how the math works out here. I think for now, we'll just allow them to grade a little bit further. And if we take a look at the mentality here, the low facility condition is hitting them kind of hard. So we'll have to deal with that. But it is honestly A-okay. Now, I should probably also take a look at... I kind of forgot about this. I should probably also take a look at where everyone ended up. Got kind of distracted with upgrading the car. And Russell did end up in Red Bull. This is kind of what we expected, however. He was the highest rated target out there. We still have Piastri, Norris, and McLaren, but Piastri has now overcome Norris. Magnussen and Ocon in RB. We have Pato O'Ward and Theo Pourchaire in Mercedes. Bottas and Lawson in Aston. Show and Danny Rick in Haas. Giovinazzi has made his way to Alpine along with Sainz. And then Albon and Gasly in the Williams, along with Hülkenberg and Tsunoda in Sauber. So that should make things interesting. Red Bull is still going to be a bit of a boss. But the signs have kind of been finalized here. We're going to build every part now in the 30 days leading up to GP. And then hopefully we'll be able to have a couple of new cars that can score us 1-2s, hopefully for the first 10 races of the season. Because I think that is actually what we're going to need to get this done. let's see how the car looks once it's done developed, and let's see how Sakia actually treats us for this one. We are finally here with Sakia now on the horizon. Basically, it happens today, and as you can see here, we're now last in high speed. We're still first in top speed, third in DRS, first in tire preservation, and we still have a good engine cooling. So we're still not in a terrible position, all things considered. However, we are going to now go ahead here and plop down every part on the car. The chassis is going to give us a lot of top speed and, well, a little bit of high speed, but it's going to lose us low speed. There we go, we put that on. For the front wing here, that one is going to put us basically at the front here in terms of low speed cornering. So we will put that on the car. For the rear wing here, similarly, it will help with what we have been losing in exchange for the DRS, which is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Our side pods are just generally very heavy, and that is going to cost us performance all around the grid, or with everything except top speed. The underfloor here gets a little bit of that cornering back, and honestly, we don't lose anything that is important to us, so that is perfectly fine. And lastly, of course, the suspension here, which is going to allow us to get a lot of tire preservation, a lot of top speed in exchange for some cornering. And with all these things on the car, we're now pretty far ahead in both tire preservation and top speed. We're dead last in DRS, we're dead last in dirty air tolerance. But if we look at our cornering ability compared to, say, Red Bull, we're still pretty close to them. We aren't that far off, and honestly, tire preservation advantage here of 25%. We have basically half of their tire preservation as an advantage. Alone is enough to cause some problems. We also have 2 kph on them, which is fine. We're not too far behind DRS either. So as I mentioned here, early season is going to be the time when we need to make inroads, and we need to take advantage of the tire preservation and everything. We have a pretty good chance at getting something done, but it's going to highly depend on how these first couple of races go. We need them to do well, both to get a little bit more mentality through Leclerc and Hamilton, but we also need to build as much of an advantage as we can early on. And if we have any Red Bull DNFs, we are going to celebrate them. Second or higher is the goal here for Charles, with the 15th best car on the grid here. Third or better is the goal here for Hamilton, with the 16th best car here on the grid here. So let's see if we live up to expectations here in Bahrain. The qualifying session here went fairly well. We have Leclerc on pole, and unfortunately we do see Hamilton down in 8th here, but if you consider the fact that between him and Norris in 2nd there's just 2/10ths, it basically just translates to a little bit of a poorer run than most. This is going to kind of spice things up here, because this means the top 8 are separated by, in this case, just 3/10ths, and that is going to keep things a little bit spicy this season. We'll have to see if we can actually make a comeback during the race itself, which, to be fair, I think is quite doable. We have a pretty huge tire advantage over literally every other car on the track. In terms of what we can do here, we are going to want to stay on the softs, of course, as much as possible, which means we start on softs, we go then to a medium, which we destroy, and then we go back to our soft tire to just kind of, well, take a relaxing stroll towards the end of the race. And that is going to be basically a strategy for both cars. There's no need to sugarcoat it. We are going to be min-maxing the heck out of this, basically. So we are going to be doing that. What's going to be minimizing fuel load. Although there was a suggestion that in this season I should maximize fuel load. And honestly, I feel that is in lead with the maximum weight challenge. So we'll maximize fuel load, which means that we'll be pushing a lot, which means that we need that cooling that I mentioned earlier, because if we do not have that cooling, then pushing is not going to help us at all. It's just actually going to be straight up detrimental to us. But yeah, we're going to give this a go. We'll have to see how this well, kind of goes for us. It's not necessarily going to be a great thing, but we are now basically as heavy as we could be here around Bahrain, with 110 kilograms worth of fuel, an extra 40 kilograms worth of car. And unfortunately, I have not, sent these guys to a buffet before we started, but you can get the idea. This is the heaviest car that we can make around Bahrain. Let's see if we can beat the AI with it. The anticipation is killing me, but yeah, we are finally here. One car front, one car fourth row. What can we do in this situation? I'm still going to put Leclerc on high overtake aggression. because I think that is genuinely okay. Hamilton does unfortunately lose a position right from the get-go here. And while it does suck a little bit, it's probably going to be okay. I do extend the UI mode on. I forgot to disable it, but it will be gone in future videos. But yeah, for this one, we'll just have to live with the UI being a little bit larger than anticipated. But yeah, a decent enough start here. And we do have plus 6.1 and 5.7 kilograms that we do need to burn off. And this is going to be, as I mentioned, fairly detrimental to our... our cars here, and we'll have to try and deal with that. But yeah, for now, a good first lap. Let's see if we can move forward. So the AI is going to be pushing for the first few laps as usual. Leclerc has actually created a bit of a gap here alongside Ocon to Verstappen and Norris, which is kind of good. But we have our first yellow flag here of the season. And I believe it is mayhaps Leclerc, because we just lost 1.3 seconds there to Ocon. And a very, very quickly there. That's kind of worrisome. But yeah, Ocon and RB, if he runs away with it, that is honestly kind of fine here. But we'll have to see if we can make a bit of a comeback here as Verstappen gets DRS on the overtake and creates an even bigger gap to Leclerc. But as I mentioned, tire advantage should come back to us a little bit later in this race. As the rest of the grid here uses up their tires, as we can see here, Ocon's down to 40%. We're just 4 seconds behind him. Norris has used 52. We're still 73 and 74. We aren't that far off the lead. Hamilton is 10 seconds. Leclerc is 3.5. And in terms of lap times here, Hamilton is going 4 seconds quicker than Magnussen ahead. And for Leclerc, he's actually 2 seconds, well, 1.2 seconds quicker than the cars ahead himself. So we are reeling these guys in. And over the course of this first race in Bahrain, we are going to be getting the time that we lost at the start back for sure, as Hamilton gets Magnussen and just, well, gets going here. And also, as you can see, Verstappen is losing time being behind Pocher, Hulkenberg, Rick, and Show. So all in all, the AI's tires are going to be absolutely shredded because they are stuck in traffic, while we hopefully will be able to avoid it for the most part. Let's see if we can get Leclerc past Norris and Ocon, because that would, again, just free us. And Norris and Ocon here, they're not going to be pitting anytime soon. So we kind of are going to need Leclerc here to get the move on, which honestly shouldn't be that much of a problem for him here. Better tires. DRS is not amazing, as I mentioned, but even so, should be able to make a move on. But this is going to be a little bit of our weakness here. DRS trains. Might need to actually just use tire to go full attack. That might actually help. And with that, Leclerc should be able to clear one of these guys fairly quickly, I would say. Might even just straight up clear both of them, just like that. So it's looking good. Let's see how things look once we get to our first pit stop. So interestingly enough, by the time we get to our first pit stop here, which is basically now, both Bottas and Verstappen are still 5 seconds behind us. And they basically caught up to us in terms of tire wear. We basically kind of skipped a pit stop here, but we're going to go in the mediums. We're going to destroy them, and honestly, that should be just fine for this scenario. But as you can already see, the soft strategy here with just taking care of your tires basically has, in one tire stint, allowed us to use one soft tire while Verstappen has used 2. He's going to have to go to a medium for his third stint, and that is where we'll have a massive advantage over him. So I have no fear. I did also forget the fact that we now have the fuel back on the positives, if you will. We also have 2 clean stops. Going to be coming out here in 6th and 7th, maybe. 6th and 8th is still acceptable. 6th and 10th is a little bit worrisome. But yeah, fuel is back on the positive side. And we'll just have to run a little bit of, a little bit of recovery towards the end there. Hamilton has 3 seconds here up to Gasly Magnussen, which should be fine. We can probably do a little bit of recharging. And honestly, for Leclerc too, we can handle this situation. Ocon and Norris are probably going to be the 2 more annoying rivals to deal with here. They seem to be on the very similar tire strategy to us. But yeah, Leclerc here should have no problem catching up. We're going to do a little bit of recharging. I'm honestly going to do the same with Hamilton. And we'll try and catch up, get by, and get back up into the top places here. It doesn't take many laps here until Leclerc has caught up to basically the podiums here. Ocon is still a little bit further up the road, but we have Norris, who's, again, the main concern. The other three here are going to be pitting fairly soon. And I am deploying a little bit here. As we see a yellow flag, as Lawson has had a bit of an incident here. Main straight crash. Concerning Lawson and Show by the looks of it. So, first incident of the season is here. And let's be honest, that's nothing major. I clicked a little bit too soon. But yeah, not a big incident if you ask me. And are we going to have a triple overtake here on the straight? Is that what's going to come our way here with the with Leclerc? Not a triple, but he does get a double. Both McLarens gets overtaken there. And Hamilton is now, again, free to kind of chase the top positions as well. 134 there on that last lap for Leclerc with the RS. Very, very promising. So again, just giving an idea of the advantage that we hold compared to last time or last year. We now are basically a pit stop ahead of Verstappen. He's about to pit for his final stop. We are still going to be destroying these mediums. Basically going to be able to destroy a pair of soft afterwards. And Russell has also just pitted, and he's just gone on the medium. So the Red Bull should be, for the first few races here, be kind of out of the picture. That's at least going to be my hope as we push Verstappen wide and Norris takes advantage. But yeah, we do need here to just recharge Leclerc a little bit. Get ready to create a gap to Norris, because we are going to be pitting again. Norris, I'm a little bit uncertain if he's going to do it. So we're going to recharge, we're going to create a gap, we're going to chase down Ocon, and then we'll see where we stand once we have pitted, as Hamilton is now just 5 seconds down the road from his teammate. We have reached a point now where I am considering to pit here. Ocon is doing a very good job. He's gone on to a fresh set of softs here. He's going to be out ahead of us, but I think this is when we pit and we just take advantage of the fresh soft tire. And we're going to do that for both of our drivers to get in, get on that fresh soft, run them light till the end. And the 20% advantage here is just going to get bigger and bigger. And I think that alone is going to be enough here to catch back up to Ocon, get him, by the end of this. And as you can see, we had some pretty good pit stops too, so I can't be too upset here. Coming out in 5th and 6th is pretty much acceptable to me, at least. So 17 laps, we'll take it a little bit easy. We have to make up here 4 and 10 seconds. Let's see if we can do it. Norris should be getting out of the way when he pits. Gasly is on all the mediums, harassing us a little bit. We probably should also run a little bit of conserve now at the beginning, just to make sure that we get our fuel back on the positive side. But yeah, for now, management is going to be key. And Ocon here, I think we'll beat him by the end, just simply because he will have destroyed his softs. 17 laps, he needs to make do with his 45% tire. That's going to be a little bit rough around here. As we're nearing the end here, we have yet another incident. A little bit unsure exactly who. I would assume it's a Ward, and it is. Small tap there with the acid after getting squeezed, and well, that is kind of what you expect in that situation. In terms of us here, we've actually done fairly well. Leclerc has caught up to Ocon here. We've kind of gotten our fuel back to the positives. We're going to recharge the battery a little bit more, as we have another yellow flag, just temporarily this time. And Hamilton is still those 5 seconds behind his teammate, as Verstappen actually pits and gets out of the way here. He's going to lose a couple of positions, but nothing major here, and he'll be able to attack. So Verstappen and Russell should be able to secure, I think, 5th and 6th, if not 4th and 5th. And we'll have to see how Ocon does with holding on for these last 10 laps. He has 30% usable tire, which means he's been taking a bit of care of it. But yeah, it's not amazing for him at the moment. And we will be trying here to create a gap, push away, see if we can get away from him here. Not the best timing, but we can just recharge our battery and try again if we fail, so it's not a big deal. We do also have the tires now to just go full attack till the end, I think. So that is exactly what we'll do to give ourselves even more of an advantage here. As Leclerc does create that gap needed to just sail away in the distance. We are coming up on a Ward. Luckily, we cleared him without problem. And as it stands, Hamilton is gaining well, a decent chunk of time there. 1.6 seconds of that last lap. So in 2-3 laps time, we are catching Ocon. It didn't even take that long. We've already caught up to him here. We are just going to deploy and get by. And then we might just turn down our tires slightly to be on the safe side. But yeah, just like that, gets the overtake done before you even get on the straight. Still maintain DRS, and that is just the easiest way to push and get away from the RB driver here in this scenario. So there we are. 1-2 is on the cars right now, and I am very, very happy with this. Let's just see if we can hold on here. I think we'll be fine. We have also most likely secured fastest lap unless, say, Russell or Piastri needs to pit. Russell has actually had a pretty bad end to the race here. I'm happy to be honest. They've lost a couple of places to soft runners, which makes sense. But even so, it's been struggling a bit here as Verstappen goes up into 4th. He's not going to catch Ocon. Ocon just needs to keep his tires alive. And in this first race of the season, we've actually done a very, very good job. And kind of like I explained, we need to dominate the first 10 races here because the AI is going to come back hard at us towards the end of the season. So honestly, a good start. We just need to keep this going. And we'll be trying our best to make that happen. But yeah, Leclerc wins. Hamilton comes second. Ocon takes third. Verstappen in 4th. Russell in 8th. So maybe they won't be as dangerous as I thought, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, a good start here. And with that, we have already 30 points almost on the teams behind. If we can do that for another 9 races, extend that to 300, I'm going to be very, very happy. But as you can hear, my voice is about to perish, so I'm going to have to end it here for today. Again, it's been a bit of a busy week for me. Busy everything, really. I am in the process of moving as well, so we'll have to see how much I'll be playing over the next couple of weeks. But I have sat down today. I've done this video. I'm planning to do another one. So hopefully I'll be having at least a little bit more reliable content the weeks going forwards. A little mix of playthroughs with the grid, around the grid, and this one. And then we'll see what we do with 2025 DLC. I might start with doing some one-season challenges, for instance, like I did with the base game. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.